been a troublemaker, I've been a late night player, I've been broke as a joke, I've been a money maker, I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator, I've been known to spit the flows and make the shaky, shaky thing, popping, lock and stop and let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk, we gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger, make my Jaeger.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here in studio, not live today. We have snuck in for a taped show, and according to our records, it's the first time we have done a taped show since December of 2016. Yeah. So we have been mostly live all the time for a good little while now. 2017 was a good year for live shows, and we do have that award to prove it. But anyways, we snuck in Thursday afternoon, so we're close to our usual time, so the news is current at least. And we're doing a little tape show since the schedule got mixed up the last couple of weeks again, and we didn't want to miss too much time, so here we are around noon o'clock. Doing a tape show. UConn just tipped off against SMU in the AAC tournament as college basketball conference tournament week is underway. I don't know, I don't have much enthusiasm for it these days for a lot of reasons, particularly because UConn stinks.
Yeah.
But let me, before I get too far onto that, say hello to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Broad Jr. Hello
Nice
there,
guy.
Bob.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? You survived the
Yeah, I was out last night.
big blizzard.
And I was out shoveling at 4 o'clock this morning, so my back is really sore.
Yeah, I shoveled last night, shoveled this morning.
Yeah.
That definitely turned into a decent, that was a legitimate storm. There was no joke.
mean, but the bad part was it was supposed to start at 4 o'clock in the morning yesterday, and it didn't start really kicking in until like around 1.
Well, it was snowing in the morning, but it wasn't accumulating all that much, and the roads were fine in the morning. But yeah, around 1 o'clock yesterday, it started to get dicey on the roads and all over, and then it went late. And a lot of tree damage.
Oh yeah, tree and wires down.
The trees have been compromised quite a bit by the weight of all that wet snow on the tree limbs. So tree limbs were like sagging, hanging all the way down to the ground, some of them snapping and breaking. A lot of power outages. Thankfully, I did not lose power.
Neither did I.
That was a good thing. And we're pretty much shoveled out now. Probably some more shoveling to do.
But the bad thing is, though, it's warm. It's like 50 degrees out.
It's nice out right now.
And it's all melting. Then tonight it'll freeze.
I did not even have a jacket on this morning while I was shoveling. It was pretty nice out. So, you know, that's the way nature works. You get the big storm, then the sun comes out and melts it off a little bit. The trees, the snow falls off the trees, and they all survive almost.
Well, last Friday's storm, I was out from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until midnight, so.
Yeah, well, we've had definitely a late surge in weather, and we're not thrilled with that, but overall the snow accumulations on this winter have not been high, although we've had a decent amount of snow days.
Yes.
This is the first real big accumulating snow. Mostly there really hasn't been any big snow accumulation, but we got hit yesterday. I don't know, I think we at least got 18 inches.
Yeah,
Some
least close
places
to
were
that.
saying 20 or more inches. It was deep. It was definitely thick. Bob's show Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. Our director is in there, Mr. Mike Toohey. Him and I are going to be taping a show right after we finish our tape show this afternoon. His show, Expose Cinema, Friday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 1. So he will have something new for you coming up tomorrow night. You can check that out. Have you been paying attention to your Mets in spring training as we look at the snow coming down here and we see the nice weather down there?
Yes, I have.
And I will mention, with this whole new setup in the studio, Bob's like in his lounge over on the corner over there. So my line of vision, if you noticed, now I look farther over instead of straight ahead. We're going to have to work this out, Bob. It's bright over there. I don't know what's going on in the studio.
It's a different setup. I mean, when I had the big cameras in front of me.
Right behind the camera. Now he's just hanging out in the corner. He's got his feet up.
Hey, if we ever use a green screen,
I don't know.
We could be in spring training.
Anyways, what's the word on your Mets? Avoiding injuries. Your pitchers so far been decent, good, getting back up to speed. Harvey had a decent outing the other day. Nobody's really hurt.
No.
They're all coming in feeling pretty healthy.
Yeah.
In the pitching staff, that's the biggest thing for the Mets.
Right.
I think offensively they'll find ways to score runs with some of the guys they got there.
Well, hey, we want to bring Mike Tebow up as soon as possible.
Tebow.
You know,
Well, didn't he? Did he get hurt the other week? But
he tripped over a sprinkler.
Oh God, typical Mets. Red Sox looking good. They got a shot of JD the other week. We missed that. We didn't get in here to talk about them signing JD Martinez, the big free agent acquisition. They finally got him, so they're ready to bring him in. Their pitching staff is looking to get healthy and back in order. I like the things I'm hearing from Alex Cora, the new manager, his mindset, the way he's approaching things, more rest for the pitchers, not maxing them out early. I like the sounds of that. He's going to have an open mind as far as who the setup guys are going to be, leading into Kimbrel in the closer role. He's not tied to these books. It's like, hey, if a righty can get out lefties, we're going to keep a righty in. If a lefty can do it, why do we need to automatically bring in a lefty specialist? In the minor leagues, guys come up pitching to both righty and lefty.
Right.
So, what's the difference up here? We're going to just whoever can get guys out is who's going to be in there in the setups, depending on the matchups. I like that sort of thing. I love the fact that he's totally committed to Mookie Betts as the leadoff man. And, of course, now with JD Martinez, that really bolsters the offense, give them a little bit more power. Hanley Ramirez seems like he's healthy. He played through that shoulder injury last year. We'll see. Some good things there. Of course, it's only spring. They did win the division last year, even though the Yankees were the talk of the town.
Right.
The Yankees, of course, in the offseason getting Giancarlo Stanton, the two giants among men, him and Judge. We'll see how that goes. They didn't really do much to change their pitching situation. We think their bullpen's probably always good. Again, they have a new manager too. We don't know Aaron Boone.
Aaron Boone,
he's coming out of the booth. At least Alex Cora is coming off of a World Series champion dugout for the Houston Astros. He's been getting time learning how to manage in his post-baseball life in a dugout, where Aaron Boone's been sitting up in a booth talking sports.
Yeah, because his father and his grandfather are both great managers, but he never managed not even a minor league game.
Not minor league, not as a bench coach, not as like a third base coach, anything like that. We'll see how that works out. I think people are going to realize that Girardi was much better than they think, and they're going to miss him now that he is gone. But they do got the Bash brothers and the power, and everybody's kind of penciling in the Yankees to win over 100 games. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Aaron Judge set records for strikeouts. He batted up below 200 for a large portion of the second half of the season. He set records for strikeouts in the postseason last year. Is he going to play down to what his potential was, or is he going to play up to what he surprised everybody with in the first half of the season? Typically, they always say in baseball, you play to your baseball card. If that's the case, Judge is going to be a low average, high strikeout, occasional power guy.
Right.
And last year was a bit of an aberration with things. We'll see. Giancarlo Stanton, we know he can hit the home runs, but his Marlins have never played a meaningful baseball game in his lifetime. And, he's off injured as well. So, we'll see what happens with that.
The fire sale down there.
Your boy Jeter. What's he doing down in the Marlins? But, so it's interesting what's going on there. NFL Combine's going on too, another sign of spring. I don't have much to add about that. Kirk Cousins, the free agent, where is he going to land? Are the Jets going to get him? Do the Jets want him? Do the fans want him? Are they going to pay that much money?
It's all up in the air.
It is all up in the air. I'm not sure. Are the Giants going to draft a quarterback? What are they going to do with their draft? Are the Browns going to draft a quarterback at number 1? They got the 4th pick as well. They could get somebody better, a more versatile player at 1 and a quarterback at 4. That could change things. We'll see. There's been a lot of everybody wants to talk NFL all the time. I don't particularly care to talk NFL at this time of year, but I will definitely look to see who gets drafted and where the free agents sign. But until that stuff happens, what are we really talking about? It's all speculation. What's the difference?
Quick thing.
What do you got?
We got the Westerners breakfast starting. We're getting the.
Oh yeah, we have the sign up there. Chris Chambliss.
Chris Chambliss.
Other one, Mike. The other camera, perhaps, is right behind me. Chris Chambliss, June 8th, I see.
Yes,
correct?
but we are starting the season June 5th.
Oh, didn't they do that last year?
No, last year we but we started on the road last year.
On the road.
Yeah,
so
this year it's home.
Oh, really?
June 5th is our home opener.
Yeah, because usually it's the breakfast and then the home opener that night.
Yeah, but we had to change it up this year because of scheduling was different.
So we'll keep our eye on that. Chris Chambliss is booked. I don't believe he'll pull a Doc Gooden.
No, he's coming up the night before. He's flying up from Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, Chambliss was great, from 76 to 88 with the Yankees.
Big time player for the Yankees. Right in the mix of some of their biggest moments in the late 70s, that's for sure. I'm sure he'll have some good stories to tell, and he'll be good, and that should be good. So June 8th over at the Amber Room?
Amber Room, yes.
Right, which we like it that it's back there. So that's good to mention. Okay, we mentioned UConn got underway just a few minutes ago, NCAA Conference Tournament Week. I didn't feel much buzz about it this week, Bob. I mean, the Big Ten playing last week.
Right.
What was that all about?
That was
Madison Square Garden.
Right.
I mean, the Big Ten's tournament used to end on Sunday.
Right.
Before they sometimes, if their games went overtime, it was like putting the selection show in jeopardy because they had to wait. Now they're done a week before everybody else.
Right.
Then there's the additional 4-game layoff. So their teams have been off for 2 weeks by the time the tournament comes up. And they sell out. For what? To play into the Rutgers market because they bring Rutgers into the Big Ten. Rutgers isn't even in New York.
Right.
Nobody from New York cares about Rutgers. They're a terrible basketball team. Why is the Big Ten selling out? Last year they went down to D.C. because they brought Maryland in.
Right.
I mean, it's a joke. And this is all part of the reason why I don't pay that much attention to college basketball. You got the FBI probe.
Right.
You got North Carolina, a champion, even though they ran a fraudulent education program for 15 plus years, and they got no punishment whatsoever. Meanwhile, you got small programs like SMU getting bounced from the tournament because of some bogus recruiting scandals. UConn got bounced the other year because they made a few too many phone calls. Meanwhile, you got these coaches with the AAU coaches and the sneaker deal contracts and the agents paying $100,000 to players. These teams are still allowed to play.
Right.
You know, as I mentioned, that Carolina thing is an absolute atrocity that they were able to play in the tournament in the last 2 years and then win a championship. And then they finalized that investigation and they say, okay, we know what happened and we're still not going to punish you. I mean, it's a joke. And then all the conference upheaval with all these teams playing in different conferences. How's Pitt doing? Remember a big powerhouse team like Big East? They went 0 for 17 in the ACC this year. They're going to be the next BC, never to be heard from again.
Right.
Boston College left the Big East, and no one's ever heard from them again. Pitt, a great team. Now they're a joke. You got all these teams playing. Syracuse, they're not even ranked. What are they doing? You know, who cares about all this stuff? Yesterday, I mean, I was much more locked in, and I would have watched the Juventus game anyways. But leading up to that game, I was like, where is the, conference tournament games during the day?
Right.
The Big East wasn't even going on until last night.
Well, the Big East ain't even the Big East anymore.
You got St. John's and Georgetown playing last night. Both those teams are shells of them former selves. And all the other teams in the Big East aren't Big East teams. I don't see any way anybody gets excited for this stuff. It's really not what it used to be.
No,
of course, granted, UConn being as terrible as they are really takes a lot out of it as well. If they were, in it, and Kevin Ollie looks like he's going to get fired. Then I heard a rumor that the disgraced Rick Pitino wants back in coaching, and he wants to go after that UConn job. That would be kind of exciting, I suppose, even if you have to do it with bad taste in your mouth.
Right.
Be like, well, there's going to be prostitutes in the recruiting, in the dorm rooms to get the recruits.
Of course.
And, he'll be getting millions of dollars from the sneaker deals, and the players he'll be signing are getting $100,000 from agents. But, hey, maybe we'll be back in the big dance. Win a championship.
Maybe we'll be in the top 5,
The whole thing is sordid. It's ugly. There's more talk about FBI and wiretaps and players getting paid than there is about actual games on the court. Virginia at 28-2, they're number one. Nova's 27-4. Xavier, how about them? 27-4. Michigan State 29-4. Duke 25-6. Gonzaga. Why isn't Gonzaga and Cincinnati in the top 4 or 5 ahead of Duke with their only 4 losses? And Michigan is 28-7. Those teams should be ahead of Duke. They should be top 5, Gonzaga and Cincinnati. But we'll see what happens after this week when the tournament plays out and the bracket gets released on Sunday night. And I'm sure I'll get into it next week as that goes. But yesterday, I was definitely I was fired up for this Champions League game. Juventus with a great comeback at Wembley Stadium against Tottenham, down 1-0 in the 65th minute they score. Then they score a second goal 3 minutes later to go up and win it 2-1. They advance out of the round of 16 into the quarterfinals. Real Madrid beat PSG the day before. They advanced into the quarterfinals. It was too bad for PSG. Their star player Neymar got hurt in a regular league tournament game in between their legs. So he played in that first game, which they blew late, and they also had the bad officiating in that game. But he was not there to help them try to pull off the win at home and knock Real Madrid out, and they lost 2-1. Man City and Liverpool are through next week. Of course, the big game is Barcelona versus Chelsea. They come in even. That'll be a great game in Barcelona. Other games, Roma is down. Man United and Sevilla are even. Bayern is up big, so they will probably advance. But the Roma matchup, the Man United matchup, and the Barcelona matchups are really up for grabs next week. Some more Champions League game. But I couldn't believe while I was waiting for that game to go, I'm looking for live college basketball action, and there was nothing on.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's Wednesday of conference tournament week.
And nothing
Remember
anywhere.
the days of Kemba Walker and the UConn Huskies playing during the day?
Oh, yeah.
At Madison Square Garden on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 5 straight days of glory for Kemba in that amazing run. Where were the games yesterday afternoon? I couldn't believe it. I'm sure there's games on now, today, but it's Thursday, conference tournament week, and I'm sure this has to do with the Big Ten wanting to play in Madison Square Garden last week. So that takes them off the page this week. So that reduces what day games that they can pull from to air during the week this week. The whole thing's a joke, if you ask me. I don't like anything about it. But as I said, next week, as the big dance comes through, I will be watching, I'm sure, to see what happens, because that gets exciting as it goes. I do want to backtrack. How much time do we got? Because I can't look at my watch since we're not live. I want to backtrack a little bit and just run through some Olympics. We got 10 minutes. All right, we're going to just run through. I know it's been a couple weeks now, but I thought the medal count was worth going through, and we do have some pictures that we'll just randomly show before we get to some NBA and NHL to finish. All right, so Norway, we know, was the runaway winner with goals, with medals. Right. 35, and they also tied Germany for the most gold medals at 13. They had medals in 8 events overall, and Germany had 25 medals, 13 golds, 7 events overall. Canada had a very good tournament at 24 medals, 9 golds, but they had medals in 9 events, so more than Norway and Germany. And of course, the combined, the figure skating pair were amazing, really incredible performance by them. And there we see that was one of the most amazing events for the Americans, who had 21 medals, so they were 4th on the medal count, 8 golds, 4th on that. But they had medals in 10 events, Bob. Right. Which was more than anybody else. So even though they did not have the most medals, they had more in 10 events. I thought that was interesting. 4 in snowboarding, alpine skiing, freestyle, cross country, hockey, the women's hockey.
Hockey was wonderful, especially that was the first time in 20 years that they
finally broke through. Yeah, it's been a long time, 20 years, as you mentioned. They were down late, 2-1. They tied it.
Tied it,
2-2, and then they won in the shootout. Very exciting against Canada, so that was tremendous for them. The USA, Jessica Diggins, Mike did show a picture of that a moment ago in the cross country. Unbelievable. If you get a chance, if you have not seen this yet, go back and find that event, the final 5 minutes or so of that event. Hear the call. There it is right there. of the announcer, for one,
Right.
who was on top of it as she came climbing from third place in the last hill up the mountain and caught second coming down over that plateau, and then caught first, passed, held on at the line. Really just unbelievable effort by her to get the first ever gold for United States in that competition, cross country. And the announcer really played it up amazingly. But that's what the Olympics is about. Really emotional stuff right there. She was dying, Bob. These cross country athletes, you could see she was so gassed, and how she dug deep, I have no idea. It was really amazing. Some other medal counts: Netherlands 17, France 15, Austria 13, Russia, which wasn't a team, but whatever they were, they had 13.
Whatever you call it.
They finally got gold with the figure skating late, and that was interesting. The two teenagers were really amazing. I thought the 18-year-old should have won. The 15-year-old kind of gamed the system as she put all her jumps in the second half, which you get more points for if you land them. I thought that, the other girl was better overall, and I liked nailing the jumps throughout, I thought, and having to hit them early before you were warmed up was more difficult, if you ask me. I'll just run through a couple more real quick. South Korea, Switzerland, Japan, 11. Sweden, Italy, my Italian team, got 10. China, 9. Czechoslovakia, 6. UK and Finland, 4. Slovakia, Belarus, Australia, a warm weather sport country, 3. Poland, New Zealand, Spain, 2. Hungary, Ukraine, Slovenia, Kazakhstan, Latvia, and Liechtenstein also with 1. Michaela Schifrin was supposed to be the star on the Alpine. The weather really wreaked havoc with that. She only got 1 gold, 2 silvers. Lindsey Vonn only got 1 bronze in what will be her last Olympics, as she lost to Goggia. The Italian really stole it from her in one of that events. And also, it's worth mentioning the men's had in curling. They won gold. That was pretty amazing. I'm not really into the curling.
No,
but they
I am not either.
But that was good. I will say I did watch that last gold medal round, and they won it. So I did think it was worth mentioning, even though it's been a couple weeks now. We missed the end, so I did want to do that. All right, let's get into some NBA as we're probably running out of time. Toronto, how about this, Bob? The Raptors clinched a playoff spot last night.
Really?
I mean, we still got like 18 games or so to go, right?
Right.
They clinched early in the East, 47-17. They are still in first place over the Bruins, or over the Celtics, I mean, 45-20. The Celtics, who have looked much better since the All-Star break, they limped in before the All-Star break, losing 4 out of 5. They've now won, I believe, 5 out of 6 out of the break. Great game Saturday night at Houston.
Right.
That was a primetime event. I watched most of that game. Really very good game. They lost it late. 3 turnovers in the last few minutes gave them a come-from-ahead loss as they blew it in the final minutes in Houston. Houston had won 15 in a row at that point. I do not know if they've won since, if that winning streak is going. I didn't see anything saying they lost, so I'm imagining that they probably have. The Rockets, 51-13, best record in basketball. Cavaliers, 38-26. You know, everybody made a big deal about that trade.
Right.
And they won those first couple games before the All-Star break while everybody else was resting and getting, limping into the break. And they've lost some games since then, so maybe those Hall of Famers to be are not going to be Hall of Famers, and they're just going to be young players playing with Bron.
We'll see where Bron ends up, because he's not going to stay there.
All that. I think Toronto. I don't think I'm just going to say right now, some way, one way or the other, the Cavaliers are not going to be in the NBA Finals this year.
No.
Wizards 37-28, Pacers 38-28. Some surprises. I mean, the Pacers really. They let go of their best player, Paul George, and here they are, 37-28, tied for a 4th spot. The Sixers, the process, believe in the process. It's finally working at 35-28. Miami not playing as good since they traded for D. Wade, but they're still in it, 34-31. The Bucks underachieving at 34-31. But all those teams are in the playoffs right now. Doesn't look like anybody's going to threaten them because the next closest is Detroit, 29-36, Charlotte, 28-37, poor King Kemba. The Knicks, 24-41, Nets, 20-45. Out west, we mentioned the Rockets' best record. Warriors right behind them, 50-14. Portland and New Orleans are third and fourth.
Wow.
39-26, 38-26. And then you got a bunch of teams really bunched up. I mean, really, they're all bunched up from 2 through 10 because Portland at 26 losses. The 10th seed, Utah, right now has 30 losses. So only 4 losses separating 2 or 3 through 10.
Wow.
With San Antonio, Minnesota, OKC, and the Clippers right now in the playoffs. But Denver's a half a game out, Utah a half a game out. So it is locked up tight in the Western Conference. Not as tight in the Eastern Conference.
Right.
But, you know, there is jockeying for playoff positioning to be done. Charlotte has played better since their bad start. Maybe Kemba can get them on his back, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be those 8 teams that we see now that will get in. But in the West, Denver and Utah right outside. Denver was in. They have fallen out. The Clippers are really the surprise team since they traded Griffin, playing still pretty well and moving into that top 8. In the NHL, Tampa Bay, because the Bruins have been great, Bob.
Right.
But they remained 6 points behind Tampa Bay. So how good has Tampa been? At 96 points, Bruins at 90, Toronto at 85. So the top 3 teams in that conference are all better than the 3 teams from your Metropolitan Conference.
Oh, yes.
Pittsburgh at 82, Caps at 81, Flyers at 79. The 2 wild cards, Devils 76, Columbus 73 points. And then the teams outside trying to get in, Florida 71, Carolina 69. The Islanders, who have been winless in 7 games, although they got a point in a tie shootout loss in their last game, at least. Rangers won some games on the West Coast trip, but they lost their last one at 66. Out west, it's Nashville 95, Winnipeg 89, Minnesota 83, Vegas 89, Anaheim 80, San Jose Sharks 79. Wild cards, Dallas 80, Kings 77. The team's fighting to get in. Colorado, Avalanche keep moving up because they were way down, so they're playing well. Calgary 76, Colorado 77, St. Louis 75. How about the Blackhawks, Bob? I don't think they're going to make it. 66 points. They're a 3-time Stanley Cup champion. They're not going to make it, Bob. All right, unless we can figure out a way to do a tape show next week, we'll be not here, but we should be back live to recap and see who's in the Sweet 16.
One quick thing. Remind you to do your clocks this weekend.
That's this weekend.
This weekend.
Thank you for letting me know, Bob. I was kind of looking to see when that was going to be. More sunshine late in the day. Hopefully the weather turns and warms up and the snow melts and we can have a little sunset later, and that would be good. All right, we'll see you in at least 2 weeks if we can't get in next week, and by then we'll have the Sweet 16. All right, take care.